Have you ever caught yourself mimicking that perfect movie smile or found yourself whispering a cheesy line you saw on the big screen? What if I told you that Hollywood didn't just entertain us? It rewired the way we flirt, connect, and even fall in love. Stick with me, because by the end of this talk, you'll never look at romance the same way again. When we talk about flirting, we often think about words, playful banter, witty comebacks, or those perfectly timed compliments. But there's a language even older and more instinctual than speech. The language of the eyes, the subtle tilt of a head, the fleeting smile that lingers just a little too long. Hollywood, with its magic of cinema, has taken this silent communication and elevated it to an art form. It perfected the look, a glance loaded with meaning, a gaze that can make hearts race or knees weak. And through its storytelling, it has taught us how to flirt without saying a single word. Think about the classic scenes we all know, the lingering eye contact between Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca, the slow, deliberate look from Ryan Gosling to Rachel McAdams in The Notebook, or even the coy glances exchanged in screwball comedies of the 1930s and 40s. These moments aren't just about the characters on screen. They are master classes in nonverbal communication. They invite the audience into a world where a look becomes a language in itself. Hollywood didn't invent the look, of course, but it crafted and refined it, packaging it into a universal signal of attraction, longing, or playful teasing that transcends words. The power of visual storytelling in flirting lies in its ability to communicate complex emotions instantly and powerfully. A glance can convey interest, hesitation, desire, or challenge, often all at once. This layered meaning makes the look a fascinating tool in flirting, and Hollywood shows us how to wield it. Directors and actors collaborate to create these moments with precise timing, lighting, and camera angles. When done right, the camera zooms in just enough to catch the sparkle in someone's eyes, or the subtle shift in expression that signals a change of heart. It's no accident that many of these iconic looks have become etched in cultural memory. Take, for example, the film La La Land and the scene where Ryan Gosling's character first notices Emma Stone's character across the crowded party. There's no dialogue. It's just the way they look at each other, half surprised, half intrigued. That moment teaches us that sometimes the first step in flirting is just being present in someone's world and daring to meet their gaze. It's a look filled with curiosity and invitation, the kind of look that says, "I see you, and I want to know more." Hollywood teaches us here that flirting doesn't need words. It begins with the courage to make eye contact and hold it. But the look isn't always just about direct eye contact. Sometimes it's about subtlety, about the quick glance away, the shy smile that follows, or the playful eyebrow raise. Consider the famous scene from When Harry Met Sally, where Meg Ryan's character delivers that iconic line after faking an orgasm in a deli. The humor and flirtation in that moment are amplified by the way Billy Crystal's character looks at her, a mixture of surprise, amusement, and genuine admiration. His eyes tell us everything about how he's processing what just happened, proving that flirting is often a dance of looks back and forth, each one responding to the other in real time. Hollywood also shows us how the environment enhances the look. Lighting plays a crucial role. Soft, warm light can make eyes sparkle and faces glow, creating an atmosphere ripe for romance. Cinematographers know this well, and many romantic scenes use golden hour lighting or candlelit settings to amplify the effect. This visual storytelling cues the audience to feel the intensity of attraction before a single word is spoken. The way a character's eyes catch the light or shadow can signal their inner feelings, creating a powerful mood that pulls viewers deeper into the moment. Another important aspect is how the look helps build tension and anticipation in flirting. Hollywood masters the art of the slow burn, where the characters' eyes meet repeatedly across crowded rooms, or just barely catch each other's gaze before looking away. This teasing back and forth creates a magnetic energy that keeps audiences hooked, and it mirrors the way real flirting works. It's that delicious uncertainty and suspense, the subtle signals sent and received that keep the connection alive. Films like Pride and Prejudice use these glances to build an emotional crescendo without relying heavily on dialogue, showing us that sometimes the eyes can say what words cannot. In addition, Hollywood teaches us about the power of the look away. Flirting isn't just about locking eyes endlessly, it's about knowing when to look away to add mystery and vulnerability. That quick glance stolen from the corner of the eye or the shy lowering of lashes can be just as potent as a full stare. This push and pull dynamic is what makes flirting exciting and unpredictable. In 10 Things I Hate About You, for instance, the characters frequently use looks away followed by stolen glances to show attraction without being overt. Hollywood perfectly captures this tension, teaching audiences that the look is a dialogue in itself, a silent conversation between two people. Even in more modern and unconventional films, the visual language of flirting remains key. In Her, for example, the way Joaquin Phoenix's character looks at the voice of Scarlett Johansson's AI character, despite the lack of physical presence, shows how the look transcends the physical. It becomes a representation of longing and connection, reminding us that flirting is as much about emotional openness as physical gestures. Ultimately, Hollywood's perfection of the look has given us a toolkit for flirting that goes beyond words. It's taught us that sometimes the most powerful expression of attraction is a silent, lingering glance that says, "I notice you." The subtle shifts in eyes and expressions have become cultural shorthand for desire and invitation. In everyday life, we borrow from these cinematic lessons, unconsciously mimicking those perfect looks, hoping to convey the same intensity and meaning. This visual storytelling has changed the way we flirt by reminding us that sometimes less is more, that the most unforgettable moments of attraction begin in the eyes. Few things have shaped the way we flirt quite like the unforgettable lines from Hollywood's romantic classics. These iconic movie quotes have transcended their original scripts and entered everyday conversation, becoming a kind of shorthand for expressing attraction, admiration, and desire. When someone says, "You had me at hello," or "I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love her," they're not just reciting a line, they're invoking a cultural moment that carries emotional weight, charm, and even a little bit of magic. Hollywood didn't just entertain us with these lines. It gave us a toolbox of flirting scripts that feel instantly recognizable, romantic, and sometimes even legendary. The power of these lines comes from their perfect blend of emotion and simplicity. They capture a feeling that's often difficult to articulate, whether it's the thrill of first attraction, the vulnerability of confessing love, or the playful tease of courtship. Take, for instance, the line from Jerry Maguire, "You had me at hello." This phrase has become iconic because it expresses an immediate, overwhelming connection. It cuts through all the noise and complexity of relationships and distills attraction into one perfect moment, a simple greeting that changes everything. In real life, people use this line to flirt because it feels genuine and timeless, a way to tell someone they've caught their attention completely and effortlessly. Another classic example is from Notting Hill, where Hugh Grant's character says, "I'm just a girl, standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her." This line captures vulnerability and earnestness in a way that's both relatable and disarming. It flips the typical script of bravado and invites openness instead. When quoted in real conversations, it's a way to soften the mood, lower defenses, and show genuine interest without arrogance. It's a moment of honesty wrapped in cinematic poetry, reminding us that flirting can be sincere and deeply human. The lines from When Harry Met Sally offer another treasure trove of flirting scripts. The movie is packed with witty banter and heartfelt confessions, but one of the most memorable is Harry's climactic declaration, "I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible." This line resonates because it captures the leap from casual flirtation to serious commitment, all delivered with such warmth and urgency. People often borrow this line in real life to express how their feelings have suddenly and irrevocably changed, making it a powerful script for escalating romantic interest. What makes these movie lines so effective in flirting is not just what they say, but how they say it. The timing, tone, and context in the films create emotional moments that stick with us. Hollywood scripts are crafted to hit the audience's hearts at just the right moment, whether through clever humor or sincere emotion. That emotional resonance makes these lines feel like the perfect thing to say when you want to make an impression, even if in real life the delivery might be less polished or the moment less dramatic. We internalize these scripts and replay them in our minds, ready to pull them out when the moment feels right. Sometimes, these iconic lines also work because they blend humor with flirtation, making the interaction lighthearted and fun. For example, 10 Things I Hate About You gives us the memorable line, I hate the way you talk to me and the way you cut your hair, which flips the idea of a love confession into a teasing, almost reluctant admission of affection. When people use similar playful lines in real life, they create a dynamic where teasing becomes a way of expressing attraction without vulnerability feeling too risky. It's a delicate dance, and Hollywood teaches us how to do it with charm. Movie lines also offer a kind of cultural safety net. Using a famous quote can break the ice because it taps into a shared understanding. When someone quotes a well-known romantic line, it signals a kind of cultural connection that immediately lowers barriers and invites playful interaction. For example, borrowing from Titanic with, "You jump, I jump," might seem dramatic, but it instantly communicates a willingness to take risks for the other person, a bold flirtation wrapped in familiar words. It's like speaking a secret language where both parties know the rules, making flirting feel more approachable and less intimidating. Interestingly, some lines have evolved beyond flirting to become part of how we express admiration or attraction in broader ways. The phrase "as you wish" from The Princess Bride, for example, is often used in flirtation to express devotion and attentiveness. It's a subtle but powerful way of saying, "I'm here for you, whatever you want," without needing to spell it out directly. These lines carry layers of meaning that enrich the act of flirting, turning simple words into emotional signals loaded with promise and care. And even modern films continue to contribute new flirting scripts to the cultural lexicon. Movies like Crazy, Stupid, Love, and La La Land offer fresh, contemporary lines that capture the messiness and joy of modern romance. The charm lies in how these lines feel authentic and relatable, reflecting the way real people talk and connect today. When someone says, "I'm just trying to be the man you think I am," they're borrowing not only the words, but also the vulnerability that the film's characters reveal, creating an instant emotional bridge in flirting. What's fascinating is how these iconic movie lines do more than just express attraction. They shape our expectations of romance. They create a kind of idealized dialogue that we aspire to, blending wit, sincerity, and passion in ways that feel cinematic and larger than life. This means that when we flirt in real life, we often try to echo that same magic, whether we're aware of it or not. We borrow from the scripts Hollywood gave us because they provide a blueprint for saying what our hearts feel but words alone often fail to capture. When it comes to flirting, the environment is just as important as the words exchanged or the looks given. And few things shape that environment quite like music and mood. Hollywood, with its expert storytelling tools, has shown us time and again that the right soundtrack can turn a simple glance into an unforgettable moment, that lighting and ambiance can make a fleeting encounter feel electric. Music and mood don't just accompany flirtation on screen, they elevate it, sculpting the emotional landscape in which attraction blooms. By watching how films use these elements, we've learned to recognize their power in our own lives, often unconsciously setting the stage for flirtation by crafting the perfect vibe. Take the iconic dance scene in Dirty Dancing, for example. The sultry, rhythmic beat of I've Had the Time of My Life doesn't just fill the background, it drives the entire mood of the flirtation between Johnny and Baby. Their chemistry is amplified by the pulsating music, the dim lighting, and the close physical proximity. The soundtrack sets the tempo not just for their dance, but for the emotional rhythm of their connection. The music invites both characters and audience into a space of excitement and anticipation, where every touch feels electric and every look carries promise. This scene has taught generations that music isn't just an accessory to flirting, it's a catalyst. Music in Hollywood films often acts like an emotional amplifier, intensifying the feelings portrayed on screen and making them palpable for the audience. It helps translate what characters feel inside into something almost tangible, and in doing so, it guides how we understand and perform flirting ourselves. When a slow, sensual song plays as two characters exchange lingering looks, it tells us that something significant is unfolding, something charged with desire or tenderness. This musical cue primes us to feel the moment deeply, and we carry that sensitivity into real life. We begin to associate certain melodies or rhythms with flirtation, often choosing them deliberately to set the mood in our own interactions. Mood setting extends beyond music to the overall ambiance Hollywood creates through lighting, color palettes, and even the weather. Romantic films often use warm, soft lighting to cast a golden glow over characters, bathing their faces in light that makes every expression more intimate. This kind of lighting creates an inviting, almost magical atmosphere that heightens the sense of connection between characters. Think about the countless scenes filmed during golden hour, that time just before sunset, when the light is soft and flattering. Hollywood knows this natural lighting evokes warmth and tenderness, making it the perfect backdrop for flirtation. We've learned to crave that glow ourselves, sometimes even choosing to meet a crush during sunset, chasing the same mood the movies have sold us. Mood can also be established through setting and sound design beyond the music itself. In films like Before Sunrise, the quiet hum of a city at night, the gentle murmur of distant conversations, footsteps on cobblestones, or the rustle of leaves in a park creates an intimate soundscape that makes the characters' interactions feel private and special. This subtle, ambient noise becomes part of the mood, making viewers lean in closer to catch every whispered word and exchanged glance. It's a masterful way of showing that the right environment helps people open up, making flirting easier and more authentic. We often recreate this in real life, choosing cozy cafes or quiet parks for dates because the mood feels right, unknowingly channeling Hollywood's influence. One of the most powerful examples of music and mood-shaping flirting comes from La La Land, a film that celebrates the magic of romance through sound and color. The opening freeway dance number bursts with vibrant, upbeat music that sets a tone of hope and possibility. Later, the scenes between the leads often feature jazzy, dreamy melodies that underscore the tension and longing between them. The music isn't just background noise, it's a narrative device that conveys their emotions and desires. The lush color palette and the dreamy, almost surreal lighting work hand in hand with the music to create an atmosphere that feels both nostalgic and fresh. This film reminds us that flirting is not just a series of actions, but a mood, a feeling we immerse ourselves in, shaped profoundly by sound and light. The relationship between music, mood, and flirting in Hollywood also shows us how the unexpected can heighten attraction. Think about how sometimes a quirky or upbeat song plays during a flirtatious encounter, adding humor and lightness to the moment. For example, in 500 Days of Summer, the use of the song You Make My Dreams by Hall & Oates infuses the characters' interactions with a playful, joyous energy. This mood shift from seriousness to fun changes the tone of flirting, making it more approachable and spontaneous. Hollywood teaches us that flirting isn't always about grand romantic gestures. It can also be about shared laughter and lighthearted moments that create connection. Moreover, Hollywood has popularized the idea that certain genres of music carry specific flirting vibes. Jazz, with its smooth, sultry rhythms, often accompanies scenes of intimate flirtation, evoking sophistication and sensuality. Pop songs with catchy beats set a fun, upbeat mood, perfect for playful banter. Classical music or acoustic ballads bring out vulnerability and emotional depth. We internalize these associations, sometimes even curating playlists specifically designed to create the perfect flirting atmosphere. This shows how deeply Hollywood's mood setting has penetrated our social rituals. In real-life flirting, the power of music and mood often goes unnoticed, but is profoundly felt. Choosing the right song to play during a date or picking a place with the right lighting can make all the difference in creating an environment where attraction can flourish. The lessons Hollywood teaches through its careful crafting of scenes have seeped into our collective consciousness, turning music and mood into essential ingredients in the dance of flirtation. They show us that flirting is as much about how something feels as what is said, and that by controlling the atmosphere, we can control the emotional energy between two people. Flirting has long been associated with confidence, the bold smile, the assertive approach, the self-assured lines. Yet Hollywood has done something much more nuanced. It transformed our understanding of what confidence in flirting really means by pairing it intimately with vulnerability. The movies teach us that true attraction isn't just about putting on a mask of bravado or perfection. It's about showing genuine emotion, admitting uncertainty, and risking rejection. This shift from confidence as mere boldness to confidence as a courageous openness has reshaped the way we think about flirting, making vulnerability a key ingredient in the dance of attraction. One of the most powerful ways Hollywood explores this dynamic is through characters who stumble, falter, and reveal their flaws while still captivating their love interests. Take, for example, the character of Mark Darcy in Bridget Jones's Diary. He's not the classic suave leading man with effortless charm. Instead, he's awkward, sometimes socially clumsy, but deeply sincere. His confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being honest about who he is. His vulnerability, showing insecurity and making mistakes, makes him relatable and attractive. The film teaches us that in flirting, confidence doesn't mean having it all together, but being comfortable enough to reveal your true self, flaws and all. This portrayal encourages audiences to embrace their imperfections rather than hide them, transforming vulnerability into an unexpected source of strength. Similarly, Silver Linings Playbook offers a modern look at how confidence and vulnerability intertwine. The characters Pat and Tiffany are both dealing with personal struggles, and their flirtation begins not with polished lines or cool detachment, but with raw honesty and emotional openness. Their willingness to expose their vulnerabilities, to share their pain, fears, and hopes, builds a foundation of trust and genuine connection. Hollywood uses their story to show that flirting is less about performance and more about being seen. The bravery to be vulnerable becomes a form of confidence, one that invites empathy and intimacy rather than just admiration. This flips the traditional script, inviting us to reconsider how we present ourselves when we want to connect with others. Hollywood also uses moments of vulnerability to heighten tension in flirtation, showing that the risk of rejection is what makes confidence compelling. In La La Land, the character Mia faces repeated setbacks in her career and romantic life, but it's her vulnerability, her openness about her dreams and disappointments, that draws Sebastian in. When she sings "The Fools Who Dream," she bares her soul, showing that confidence isn't about hiding fear or failure, but about daring to hope and dream despite them. This vulnerability becomes an act of courage, a beacon of confidence that is deeply attractive. It teaches us that true confidence is about standing tall in the face of uncertainty and inviting others to witness that strength. The romantic comedies of the 1990s also contributed to this evolving idea. Films like Notting Hill and 10 Things I Hate About You present flirting characters who are often awkward or uncertain, but win hearts through genuine emotion rather than perfect delivery. Hugh Grant's character in Notting Hill isn't the classic hero. He's vulnerable, nervous, and real, and that honesty becomes his charm. Similarly, Julia Stiles' character in 10 Things I Hate About You combines sharp wit with moments of emotional exposure, revealing that confidence is a complex mix of strength and softness. Hollywood's storytelling here shows that vulnerability isn't a weakness to be hidden, but an integral part of what makes confidence authentic and appealing. Another way Hollywood transforms confidence and vulnerability is by showing that sometimes the boldest thing you can do is admit you don't have all the answers. This is clear in the film Before Sunrise, where two strangers strike up a connection over the course of one night. Their flirtation isn't about dazzling each other with bravado. It's a delicate dance of revealing doubts, fears, and hopes. Their confidence lies in their willingness to be open and uncertain, to share pieces of themselves without guarantees. This portrayal dismantles the myth that flirting requires perfection, showing instead that authenticity and openness are magnetic. It encourages us to rethink flirting as an invitation to share our humanity rather than to impress. Hollywood also challenges traditional gender roles around confidence and vulnerability in flirting. In many classic films, men were expected to be confident pursuers, while women were passive recipients. But modern films complicate this dynamic, showing women who are confident in expressing their desires, and men who are vulnerable and emotionally expressive. Movies like Call Me by Your Name and Moonlight explore these themes with sensitivity, portraying flirting as a mutual exchange where both confidence and vulnerability flow freely between partners. This shift broadens our understanding of flirting, highlighting emotional honesty and mutual respect as cornerstones of attraction. In addition, the interplay of confidence and vulnerability is often dramatized through the characters' body language and dialogue in Hollywood films. The hesitant glance, the nervous laugh, the moments of silence that say more than words, these cinematic techniques capture the tension between wanting to connect and fearing rejection. Actors convey this beautifully, allowing audiences to feel the vulnerability beneath the surface confidence. For example, the famous scene in When Harry Met Sally, where Harry confesses his feelings, is powerful because it combines raw vulnerability with a steady, heartfelt delivery. The scene shows that confidence isn't about never feeling afraid. It's about speaking your truth despite fear. Through these portrayals, Hollywood has transformed the way we think about flirting by making vulnerability a vital part of confidence. It teaches us that the most attractive form of confidence is not the kind that hides behind bravado, but the kind that embraces imperfection, invites emotional risk, and celebrates authenticity. This new understanding encourages people to be more honest and open in their romantic interactions, ultimately enriching the way we connect with others. Hollywood has played a monumental role in shaping how society views gender roles in flirting, often reinforcing traditional stereotypes, but also gradually challenging and redefining them over time. For decades, films have presented flirtation through the lens of conventional gender norms, men as confident pursuers and women as coy responders. These portrayals not only reflected the social attitudes of their times, but actively influenced how people internalized and performed gendered behaviors in romantic interactions. Yet as cultural tides shifted, Hollywood began to complicate and question these roles, offering more nuanced, diverse representations that expanded our understanding of flirting beyond rigid binaries. Traditionally, classic Hollywood films often depicted men as the initiators of flirtation, wielding confidence, charm, and sometimes even a touch of bravado to win over women, who were portrayed as passive objects of desire. Think of films like Casablanca or Breakfast at Tiffany's, where male leads take charge, driving the romantic plot with bold declarations and decisive actions. The female characters, while often strong and witty, were typically cast in the role of the pursued, their flirtation marked by demure smiles, subtle glances, or playful resistance. This dynamic reinforced a cultural script where masculinity equated to assertiveness and control, while femininity was linked to receptiveness and allure. It set a blueprint that audiences around the world absorbed, mimicking these gendered flirting roles in their own lives. However, even within these early films, there were glimpses of complexity and challenge to these norms. Take Breakfast at Tiffany's, where Audrey Hepburn's Holly Golightly is anything but a typical passive love interest. She exudes a confident sexuality and independence that complicates the traditional female role in flirting. Her playful teasing and ambiguous motives introduce a woman who actively shapes the romantic narrative, challenging the assumption that women must be purely receptive. Hollywood's portrayal of Holly opened the door for more assertive, self-aware female characters who flirt on their own terms. As decades passed, especially from the 1980s onward, Hollywood began to reflect changing societal attitudes toward gender and sexuality, with flirtation scenes increasingly showcasing women who took initiative and men who expressed vulnerability. Films like When Harry Met Sally and Pretty Woman demonstrate this shift. In When Harry Met Sally, Sally is confident and assertive, unafraid to express her desires and challenge Harry's assumptions about relationships. This film marked a turning point, showing that flirting could be a two-way street where women actively participate and shape romantic interactions. Similarly, Julia Roberts' character in Pretty Woman balances vulnerability with assertiveness, inviting the male lead's attention, but also making clear her own boundaries and desires. These portrayals contributed to evolving cultural expectations, encouraging women to embrace agency in flirtation. Hollywood has also played a crucial role in challenging toxic masculinity by portraying male characters who reveal emotional depth and vulnerability in flirting. Movies like Silver Linings Playbook and Call Me by Your Name highlight men who navigate flirting with sensitivity rather than dominance. Pat, in Silver Linings Playbook, is openly struggling with his emotions and mental health, yet his sincerity and vulnerability become his strength in connecting romantically. Similarly, Call Me by Your Name portrays a tender, respectful exploration of desire between two men, defying traditional notions of masculinity in flirtation and love. These films help dismantle stereotypes that men must always be strong, silent pursuers, showing that emotional honesty is an equally powerful way to flirt. Moreover, Hollywood's increasing inclusion of LGBTQ+ stories has dramatically expanded the portrayal of gender roles in flirting. Films like Moonlight and Carol present complex characters whose flirting doesn't conform to heteronormative scripts. The dynamics in these stories often emphasize mutual vulnerability, fluidity, and the breaking down of binary gender roles. This has broadened society's understanding of how attraction and flirtation can manifest beyond traditional male-female interactions, showcasing a spectrum of identities and expressions. Hollywood's visibility for these stories plays a vital role in normalizing diverse flirting behaviors and encouraging acceptance.